Welcome to Red's Book Guide. Today's video will be a personal book review, and when I say that, I don't mean the term loosely. In fact, I say it because this book holds great value in my heart. Now, before I begin my conventional way of reviewing the book, I would like to ask you a few questions. Do we love people for whom they are? Or are we actually infatuated with mentally constructed images of those people? Have you ever been in a draining relationship? Regardless of its nature, it could be a romantic one, it could be of innocent friendship, any kind, in fact. How can you be in one without even realizing that? Are there certain factors? Are there certain quote-unquote red flags? This book will be your guide to help you recover from all of that if you have either experienced one yourself or if you already know someone who is actually going through something like that, or if you want to help someone recuperate from the mentally draining process that this book is actually set to solve. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and let us begin. Plot synopsis. The story revolves around two high schoolers, Margot and Quentin. Quentin is actually crushing on Margot for as long as he has remembered. In fact, in one of the scenes he says, "As we walked past, I kept taking glances at her through the crowd," in a photographic series entitled "Perfection Sits Still as We Mortals Walked Past." This here tells you how much affection actually is harbored within Quentin's heart. This tells you that this person is actually innocent and even is prone to be maddened innocently by his obsession of the idea of Margot. Unlike our old friend Gatsby. Oh, old Gatsby. The story itself talks about how Margot, after realizing how her life has been paper thin, decides to get off of the grid. She decides to vanish all of a sudden. And she actually warns Quentin not to grow attached to her by saying everything looks uglier up close. However, Quentin dismisses that by saying, "Not you." So when Quentin is actually aware of the fact that Margot is a person who was made for the spotlight, she does not want to vanish all of a sudden because of nothing. There has to be a reason. Thus, he decides to go on a treasure hunt, sort of, to find her and tell her how he feels or how he has felt all this time and open up about them or about their future together. Because to him, actually, this hunt was the only way to prove his worth as a hero, as a lover, and most importantly, as a friend. So the book in a nutshell talks about how Quentin wants to get with Margot, but all the time he just tries his best and yet to no avail. So reading the book will actually give you more insight towards that. And speaking of insight, in the good section I will be breaking down some of the elements to make this book review as appealing as possible. So coming right up. The good. The answer to toxicity. This book actually gives you the idea that once you are in a relationship whereby you take toxicity as a sign of love, then things are not as pure as they seem. In fact, Quentin says this, or addresses this by saying, leaving is only hard when you think about it. But once you have already left, it is the easiest thing in the world. So basically you have to be a coward for your courage to materialize at some point. And honestly, I cannot agree more. Number two, natural illusion. As I have stated earlier, this book can be romanticist. Not romantic, but romanticist. And this is how. John Green employs nature as the main source of inspiration for the book. In fact, in one of the scenes, it is actually said that the sky is like a monochromatic contemporary painting, drawing me in its illusion of depth, pulling me up. And I will explain how this is extremely relevant to the plot line of the book. For example, you've got here, you need to think outside the box in order to get the full idea here. For instance, you've got Margot as the sky because the sky appears blue. Blue here refers to the idea of how Quentin sees Margot as only one color or one shade, so to speak. So basically he sees only the fun her, the personality that attracts others, that appeals to others, but he does not get to see her dark side because he only is infatuated with the image that he has made of this person. So basically you've got Margot as a painting. It pulls people in with the illusion that she is likable, but actually she turns out to be, you'll have to find out for yourselves. It truly manifests the relationship between Margot and Quentin, because she is the spectacle and Quentin is basically the audience, and he is all the time entangled with her line of thought. So in a way, this quote actually mirrors the relationship that they have. Number 3, love or prison. Johnny Green actually sneaks this idea implicitly into the narrative in the form of a treasure hunt, because he actually asks you indirectly the following question: are you willing to go far and beyond just to achieve what you actually believe in, or just to win the heart of the person whom you think that is right for you? This is where Quentin actually learns his most valuable lesson. Things or people are like the objects in the sidecar's mirrors. They may actually appear closer than they are, so be careful out there. However, the book does not suffer from lots of negatives, yet there are things that I did not really like. And this is where the bad section starts. Number 1, over dramatic or realistic. This is something that newcomers to Johnny Green may realize or may face while reading this book. Because at first glance it may appear as another generic love story, but that assumption could not have been far from the truth. In fact, this story is, in my opinion, quite realistic because it captures how people perceive things. So I think it's quite realistic except for one detail, and this is where we come to the second point that I dislike. Number 2, Da Vinci-like treasure hunts. Now, while this is fun, it's quite not realistic, because if a teen wants to vanish, he or she would vanish without leaving a trace. And if they do not want people to find out that they have vanished, then honestly, no one would know, especially when they are about to become 18 and are adults legally. So this part is not quite realistic. However, it might be excusable to think that it has been done so to explain or to showcase the childishness that teens may display from time to time. So in one way it's excusable, in another way it's quite, it's not. So tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. And now, my final thoughts. This book is great. Honestly, I cannot emphasize that enough. Because it has helped me, thankfully, it has helped me through one of the most difficult phases that have happened as a result of a toxic relationship. So if you are struggling, or you know anyone who is struggling with a similar case, then please either read it or recommend it for your friend, because I am certain that this book will help them. This is pretty much it for today's video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you have, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with your friends. Oh, and don't forget to watch the previous videos on your screen right now. As always, this is it for me. I'll see you readers in the next one. Until then, don't forget to remain well versed.